Hello guys, in this video we are going to take a look at schedule task privilege escalation. And on a Windows OS, the task scheduler is basically a tool that allows anybody to create and run virtually any task automatically. And typically a system and certain applications use the scheduler to automate some many tasks, like disk defragmentation, disk cleanup, and to run updates. The updates are run based on the task scheduler, but some people can also create, or anybody can create their own task through the task scheduler. So we are going to take a look at how to manually find something that that somebody's schedule by themselves, and see how we can do a privilege escalation through that. And the first that we're going to take a look is how to find it with JAWS. So we are going to use the JAWS tool, and for JAWS, like we did before, if you guys remember, we open the you can go ahead and open the CMD, and from the CMD what we did was let me go ahead and get that file that we got. Okay, so from JAWS, what we did is that from the CMD we ran this command over here, and before we can run this command, I actually need to go change the directory. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you guys. Keep forgetting to make this bigger. There we go. So we are going to change directory, and we are going to go to the directory where I have JAWS, and I have that in the C drive in the AD folder. So you can put it whatever you want, but that's where I have JAWS. And what we're going to do, so we're going to change directory into the AD, right? And if you do a dir to take a look at what you have inside, you can see all the tools that I have in here. And the one that I want to run is JAWS enum.ps1, and I already ran it before, and you can see that I have it over here, JAWS enum.txt. But we are going to run it again. Not that. Let me go ahead and copy it. There we go. So what this does is that it's going to open PowerShell, then it's going to do a execution policy bypass. Then I'm going to specify which file I want to run, which is JAWS-enum.ps1. It's a PowerShell script file, and then I want to output file name, which I want to output to JAWS.1. I already have JAWS enum because I ran it, so I'm going to do this as JAWS enum1.txt, and that's going to create another text file. So what it's going to do is going to run JAWS, and everything that JAWS finds, it is now going to output into the command prompt. It is going to save it in this file right here, like we did before, this one right here. But we are going to create a new one, so you can see how it goes if you miss my other one. So you can see it is going to run JAWS over here, and it's going to create, if we go and refresh, it's going to create JAWS enum.1. But I already ran that, so it is going to come out with the same stuff, and there it is. So JAWS takes a look at the task schedule that we have. So if you go ahead and find it, task, see if we can find schedule task. There we go. So in here you can see all the tasks that have been scheduled. You can also see one that caught my eye is this one right here. The task name, it says Microsoft. It's under the Microsoft folder, Windows, and it's called test, right? You can see all the other ones that are made by basically by Microsoft. You can see how it is running. You can see that this one is running as system is also an administrator, but this one is running as administrator. And you can see what task it's basically running. You can see that it's running. There is if you go to the C drive, there's a folder called testing script, and then there's a script batch in here, or a batch file. So what you could do, you can go ahead and go into that file, because you can see that it is in this server. So if you go ahead and go to the C drive, you can see that you have a testing script in here. So what you want to look is take a look at the properties and see what you can find, see if you have access to it. And what you can see in here is that all the users under the student, and a student is the name of the server, right? If you open, let's go ahead and open CMD again. If you do a host name, you can see that the host name is student. That's the name of the server. That's the host name, student. So anybody who, with an account in this server has access to it, has full access to it, which means that we are going to also have access to the script that they are running, properties. So the script over here, if you go to security, users, you can see that we have full control. So I do have access to this. So if you open the command prompt again, and who am I? I am student 1 under the pen testing domain. So I do have access to this because I am a user in this server. So I do have access, full access to it. Therefore, I can edit this. So as you can see, it is basically adding a reg key, register key. So it is looking at wallpaper, testing background. So what it's doing is, it looks like it is adding a background to this server, and you can see the parameters that are running, but it is running under the current user. So therefore, since it is running it as the administrator, it means that it is adding that background to the administrator. And since I have that, since I have the administrator password, I mean, I shouldn't have it. I just want to show you guys what it's actually doing. So I'm going to connect to it. I'm going to connect to this server. To this server has the administrator. So I'm going to show you what this script is actually doing. You can see over here, you can see the background of it. So what it's doing is that every time we power on the server, we add this background over here. But since we have access to this, we can go ahead and close it, because I just wanted to show you that. And if we go back to this, my background, I don't have any background because this script is only doing it for the user. So, and the user is the administrator user. So therefore, since this script is being run by an administrator, what I could do is I can use this to create a new user. So what I'm going to do is do a net user add, and we are going to add the username is going to be Robert Cuckoo, whatever you want to name it, whatever you want. Password, it's going to be password 123. And then what I want to do, I want to add this net local group administrators, Robert Cuckoo add. So Robert, I gotta spell this correctly, otherwise we won't have admin access. So we are going to go ahead and comment this so it doesn't really run it. Well, we can even keep this, it doesn't really matter, but I just want to comment this out real quick, and then we can edit it again. So what we're going to do is we comment this out, so this is not going to happen again. So what is going to happen is that whenever that let's go and go back, whenever this schedule task gets run, what it's going to do is it is going to execute this file, which I have full access to it, which means that I can execute it, and it's going to execute it as the administrator. And since the administrator has access to add users, create a new user, and add users to the administrators group, local group, I'm going to gain access to the system as an administrator, right? So therefore we are going to save that, Control S to save it, close it. So now I know you are probably wondering how we are going to get this administrator to run this task. So what we could do is every time you reboot the system, we can the task is going to be run because we don't have access to actually run that task. So because if you go to the task scheduler, if you open the task scheduler, let me go ahead and add my password in here. So if we open the task scheduler, you can see that under this task scheduler library, you can see that it is under Microsoft, and then under Windows, you can see over here that we do not have that that task called test, because it is only under the administrator user. It's not under my user, so I cannot start or run that task. So what I'm gonna need to do is that I'm gonna need to reboot this server, which I do have access. I do not have access to do so. Let me see if I can do a shutdown. Force it. Actually, what I should have done was do a shutdown R. So I'm going to add that to the documentation so you guys can do it. CMD shutdown. The way that you shut it down is doing a shutdown F and then R, or R and then F, because we want to actually reboot the system. We don't want to shut it down completely. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to start that server once again. So give me a couple seconds in here. And this is my ESXi where I'm running my entire lab. And if we go into the student one, we can, so it's probably did a reboot already. Let's go ahead and just power it off. This is the machine that I'm using, and then we are going to power it back on, and then I'm going to connect to it. So we have now rebooted the system. I'm back in there with my account, and let's see if we were able to execute that task. And remember, what we did was let's go ahead and go into, we have to open the groups to see if we can find that. Let's go ahead and go to control manager. Probably from there won't work. Let's go ahead and go to groups, edit local groups. Let's go ahead and enter my password. So if you go to users, you can see that the user that we created, Rabakuku, is in there. And if you go to properties, member of, you can see that it's a member of the administrators and also users. So therefore, I am going to be able to run anything as an admin, as a local admin on this machine. It's not a domain admin, it's a local admin just for this machine. So if we run this as an administrator, we can go ahead and do more choices. When as a different user, we need to do a dot backslash because it is local, it's not part of the domain, Rabakuku, and then the password that we gave it, which is password 123, right? And voila. You can also run CMD. Let's go ahead and search CMD as an admin. It's a local admin because we created that account, right? And it is a local admin, not a domain admin. Rabakuku, password 123. There we go, administrator, as you can see right there. So what happened was, close all tabs. Let's go ahead and take a look. Since, like I show you guys, we found a task that was being scheduled, and it was running a script, this batch script in here. And since we had, if we go to properties, you can see that we had all the users in this machine have full access to it. And since this script was running as an administrator, every time the system was rebooted, what we did was we added this in here, which was to create a user named Rabakuku, and then we added to the administrator's local group. So now we have local admin rights in this machine. So now after that, what you could do is to cover your tracks, you can go ahead and delete that, and just put it back how it was. Boom, there you go. So that's how you are able to take advantage of the tasks that are the scheduled tasks that are running any any program or any script that they're running. One other thing that you could do is that if it was running something else, let's see that it was running, let's go in here, let's say that it was running testing script. Let's say that it was running, instead of a batch script, let's say that it was running like an executable every time it was rebooted. And if you had full access, right, you can delete, remove, whatever you want. What you could do is you could delete that executable, right? You can go ahead and delete it and then create an executable that will give you admin rights. And you could do that by doing the MSF Venom, and you can create an executable that would basically add a user to the administrator group, which we're going to do later. I'm going to show you how to do that on a later video, and it's going to be for the unquoted path that we're going to be doing it, and it's basically the same, but I'm going to create another video. I'm going to show you how we can get those admin rights through MSF Venom, and adding that executable in here, and you're going to see that we are going to be able to get local admin rights. So I will see you on the next video.